Say hello to everyone. Oh, we're up to 59 here. Well, once everyone finds out that Blake Lively is telling all tonight, I'm sure we're going to get thousands of people flooding this channel very, very soon. So no worries about that. But yeah, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you what made me decide to finally face all of you Justin Baldoni losers and face the media and face the public and just tell my side of the story and answer questions. So I want to explain to you why I've made this decision. First of all, I have been watching the Body in the Snow Karen Reed documentary on HBO Max. And, Karen, she gave an interview to that documentary because she said that she should have a forum to tell her side of the story and she should not have to do it in a court of law. And I feel the same. I should not have to tell my story sitting across from that awful man, Brian Friedman. Absolutely not. So I decided I'm going to take my case directly to the public because I just know when I tell you all the truth about what I have been through the last 2 years, I just know that you're absolutely going to be on my side and you're going to see Justin Baldoni for what he is. Toxic, just the embodiment of toxic masculinity, honestly, and a predator and really just one of the most dangerous elements in our society, frankly. So yeah, when I saw Karen Reed, I see how there's so many people supporting her, and I thought, well, it can't be that hard. I just need to go out there like her, and I just need to explain what happened. And surely I'm as likable as she is. Surely I will have a lot of supporters then. So that's the first thing. And the second thing, honestly, is I have to admit, I did get a little bit perturbed when I saw that Justin Baldoni was getting some really great coverage for something he did with People magazine. I'm just looking this up again. But okay, so let me show you this. I want you to know where I'm coming from here, and everyone. This is breaking, by the way, breaking news. Now, Justin Baldoni, my nemesis, I don't even want to say his name. From now on, I'm going to merely refer to him as the perpetrator. And so the perpetrator apparently decided to break his social media silence and to share a Mother's Day tribute, which, of course, we could look at this. Isn't this disgusting? I mean, to share something like this at the same time that he put me through months and months of systemic bullying and sexual harassment. And well, again, you've seen my lawsuit. I can answer your questions if you have questions, but you know what he did. And so to see him here parading around with his family, or as I like to call them, and his enablers, right? You have the Baldoni enablers here. It just really is. It's quite disturbing. And so I saw this and I thought, I just cannot remain silent anymore. I cannot cede the airwaves to him and just say, okay, you can have social media. I have to start fighting back. But anyway, but this, I want you to see where I'm coming from and why I got so upset. So let's read this here for a moment. It says, Justin Baldoni is paying tribute to his wife and his mom on Mother's. See how upset I am. So I have so much trauma that I can't speak clearly. Amber Heard had the same affliction, apparently. This is very common, actually, in people who have been subjected to a toxic workplace environment or narcissistic covert abuse is a difficulty then in expressing oneself. So that's the problem that Amber Heard and I share. But it says, Justin Baldoni is paying tribute to his wife and his mom on Mother's Day, marking a rare public comment amid his ongoing legal battle with Blake Lively. My mom gave us faith. Oh, listen to this. Isn't this disgusting? My mom gave us faith, he says. My wife is the definition of it. Our children are growing up in the fortress of that love. Happy Mother's Day to all. I mean, this is just absolutely transparent what he's doing here. Absolutely. How dare you appropriate Mother's Day, Justin, to try to get out of what you did to me. So anyway, I had to speak out. It's just enough is enough. And yes, my PR people and my lawyers have been begging me not to say anything because they think that every time I speak publicly, that I look worse and worse. And I just think that's ridiculous. I think that my appearance at the Time 100 gala, as well as our appearance at the Saturday Night Live taping, I think all of these things, my appearance on Seth Meyers, I think all of these things, look, every time, it's just true. Every time I'm in front of the camera and people see me, they love me, right? So I just need to get myself out there more. It's just a matter of a lot of people, they don't know who I am. And so there's this vacuum of understanding, frankly, that Justin Baldoni and his people have been filling with this caricature of me as some kind of like an egotistical mean girl. I mean, it's just absurd. It's just absurd. So anyway, so yeah, I have to speak out. I've just had enough. If the perpetrator is going to be out here on social media, then I can as well. So anyway, does anyone have any questions for me? I mean, look, I can tell you my side of the story, but I want to be sensitive to where you all are coming from and what you want to know about what I've been through the last 2 years, because this is the first time that I will have been talking about this. So does anybody have any questions? And thank you, by the way, Just Ricardo, for that. I'm sure we'll be getting many, many more super chats coming in once people realize that I'm on this channel and I'm speaking. Laura B, by the way, thank you so much to these mods. Colonel Kurtz speaks highly of you. And by the way, I just want to say, some people may think it's strange that I, Blake Lively, have chosen Colonel Kurtz's or Kristen's program to do this, because she has been so critical of me. And Vanessa, yes, my other mod, thank you as well. Did I click on you by accident? And also AJ and Rebel Bird might come in later or not, but these are my night owls. Thank you. So anyway, you might be confused. Why would Blake Lively choose Colonel Kurtz's podcast to make these announcements? And it's because I want to show you that none of this bothers me. None of this criticism bothers me, because I know the truth, and I know that I've got justice on my side, and that I just need to get my message out there more. And once you hear it, then of course you're going to believe me and side with me, right? Anyway, any questions? Anyone, please? Mr. Botch M Botchzy. Whoa, I can't even say that. But with the cute cat. I love cats, by the way. Look at my shirt. Look. Blake Lively loves cats. If you don't come away from this with anything else tonight, please know that. Absolutely. I love cats and I love patterns. And this shirt, it just had them both. So the kitty says, Blake, what do you have on Tay Tay that she's going bad? Well, I'm glad that you brought up Taylor, my best friend, and we're still absolute best friends, by the way. I don't care what Baldoni's team is putting out there on the Daily Mail or what have you. Taylor and I are like this. But, oh, I'm sorry, I made you go away. Oh, Kitty, here we go. But I do want to say, I do want to get a message out there to Taylor, because unfortunately in recent weeks, Taylor's advisors have been blocking her from communicating with me. And I know that it can't be coming from Taylor. It must be coming from the people around her, because Taylor wouldn't block me. She's my best friend. She loves me. But I do want to get a message out there. And I just want to say, Taylor, everyone thinks that you are so innocent. And I just wonder, hypothetically speaking, hypothetically, mind you, but I just wonder if people were to see a leaked video footage of you, just putting away line after line of cocaine. I wonder if that would be a problem for your wholesome image and for some of your fans. So, I mean, and I'm not saying that there's a video like that out there. I'm just saying that hypothetically, you might have, over the years, you might have partaken of these things at your best friend's house, and you might not have known that your best friend had installed sophisticated cameras, Diddy style, just for security, because Ryan and I were billionaires, and so we have to have video surveillance in every room in our mansions, right? And so anyway, there may or may not have, hypothetically speaking, Taylor, there may or may not have been surveillance of you doing whatever you might have done when you came to visit, came to those parties at our house, which I'm sure you don't have anything to be worried about, right? But anyway. So I just, I would hate for that kind of stuff to get leaked. And I just, of course, you have nothing to worry about. But hypothetically speaking, I would hate for something like that to get leaked. So anyway, just want to put that out there. But yeah, I hope that answers your question, Mr. Botchsy. What else? What else? Anyone? Questions? Khaleesi Dyer says, oh, call me Taylor. Oops, made you go away. Yes, Taylor needs to get in touch with me. Absolutely. Or something might, like I said, something unfortunate could get leaked. Stephanie S. Did you have a little crush on Baldoni? Did he reject you? Well, let me put it this way. All right. A lot of people don't know this, but I have an innate sixth sense for when men are attracted to me, and so I don't actually need to see overt signs of attraction to know how a man is feeling. I'm like Counselor Troy on Star Trek, right? I can just read masculine emotions, and so I knew that he was attracted to me. That was the issue. He was attracted to me. I could feel that telepathically. And that is what created the awkwardness in the first place. So I am completely, to answer your question, I'm completely, absolutely 100% psychologically, spiritually committed to my most wonderful husband ever, Ryan Reynolds, who is the absolute embodiment of ultimate masculinity. I think we can all agree. So I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not even capable of being attracted to another man, particularly one with the startlingly masculine physique that the perpetrator, as I refer to him, has. But anyway, so I hope that answers your question. But of course, Baldoni was attracted to me because all men who come in contact with me are attracted to me. It is the power of the mole, actually. It's not even anything to do with my facial symmetry or my hair, although the Blake Brown products, they really have enhanced my hair, as you can see. But no, it's the mole. It's the power of the mole. There's just something about it that drives men crazy. All right. Laura B, too late, LOL. Uh-oh, did I miss something? Did I mess something up? Yeah, far more articulate than lively. Than Lily, yeah. If you hear something next door, by the way, if you hear a masculine voice, that is actually my significant other watching a history documentary. And, I think it's a common thing for spouses, for guys to, at the end of the night, sometime to curl up, or late, I should say, sit up on the couch and kind of doze off watching a documentary or listening to music or something. And my guy, he just loves to watch historical documentaries. For example, right now we're watching a documentary about the history of slavery, because we did not learn that. As you know, we didn't learn anything about slavery in school. And I'm trying to educate myself. In fact, I've decided, I want to announce this here, Ryan and I've decided that we're going to give another $1 million to the NAACP. We're just trying to negotiate right now for what kind of awards we will be given. We've already gotten the time, maybe Newsweek 100. We're trying to get on the Newsweek 100 list before we give another $1 million to the NAACP to atone for our unfortunate plantation wedding. But anyway, the less said about that, yeah, the better. All right. Anyone else? Where is Carly Kloss? All right, I'm out of character now. Is she a part of the Taylor Swift pack? So it was Carly and Taylor and Gigi Hadid, and who were some of the others? You know what? Speaking as Colonel Kurtz, maybe Blake will take a break for a moment, okay? But speaking as Colonel Kurtz, I want to say I thought that one of the most interesting little nuggets tucked away in that Daily Mail article about Taylor Swift was the comment about Selena Gomez. Do y'all remember that? So there was a comment in there from this source, whoever this source was, and look, I also want to say I have come to believe that the Daily Mail sources are generally very reliable. In it not I'm not saying you can believe everything that they're saying, but like they are genuine are legitimately people who are connected to the stars that they're talking about. I mean, I've just seen this. I've seen it and heard of it behind the scenes, and it's also apparent when you track these Daily Mail stories and then you see that things come to pass, or it turns out that those tips were correct. And it's interesting. I do think, in a weird way, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I do think, in a weird way, the Daily Mail is more accurate than the New York Times at times. I mean, isn't it a crazy upside down fucking world when I can say that and it's true? But I mean, my God, if this Blake Lively thing has taught us anything, it has taught us how completely bankrupt the New York Times, and I assume lots of other mainstream journalism outlets, how completely bankrupt they were with their total lack of process when it came to that vetting that Justin Baldoni article and doing their own real investigation. I mean, they were just the New York Times was basically just hired guns for Blake Lively to destroy Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer with lies and misrepresentations and insinuations. Like, yeah, I mean, it was just crazy, right? So anyway, let me get back to the point though. In that Daily Mail article tucked away in there, and thank you for the donation. I'm going to see who that was. Just a moment. It beeped. I have it on beep mode now, so I don't so I don't miss the PayPal donations. But in that article tucked in there was a comment about Selena Gomez, and what it said was this. It said that Selena Gomez, according to this source, had been trying to warn Taylor Swift about Blake Lively for a while. It said repeatedly. I'll have to get the article in a second. I'm going to take a quick break. But repeatedly, or for an extensive period of time, something like that, that Selena Gomez had been trying to warn warn Taylor Swift that Blake Lively is no bueno, basically. And so I thought that was interesting. I mean, I don't know anything about Selena Gomez, and I did think that her crying video, what was that, a month or two ago, was her political crying video. I thought it was kind of embarrassing, but whatever. But dude, I mean, if she was trying to warn, if she could see through Blake Lively, or she could see the inherent problems with Blake Lively, and she tried to warn Taylor Swift, good. I mean, good friend. It's a good friend there, dude. Oh my gosh. All right. I do want to turn this down because I think actually he has fallen asleep. And I do want to turn it down because it's kind of bothering me. I think you can hear it, but it's bothering me and I have to run to the restroom. So I'm coming back in like 2 minutes. All right. So I will see y'all. Be back in 2. All right. I didn't feel like turning the bright lights on. I need to go ahead and finally fix my lighting in here. But a little more casual for Ms. Lively. Ms. Lively, she requested or demanded, Ms. Lively demanded that the lighting be dim. It's best for her complexion, she says. It's best for her mole. The mole really shows up, you know, in the best lighting, and sort of it looks the best in this kind of lighting, apparently. So that's why it's this way. All right, hold on a second. I wanted to bring up. Uh-oh. Oh, there's Kitty again. I'm using voice text, and it kind of messes things up. It's all right. Again, all is forgiven because I love cats so much. Actually, I don't know if Blake Lively likes cats, but I do. Hold on a second. I want to bring up the Selena Gomez. So if you're just now joining in and you're like, where is Blake Lively? Blake Lively was here earlier. She went away for a bit, but she will come back. She'll come back again before before we finish. But I wanted to talk just a bit about some recent developments here as well. So Justin Baldoni, he did just post on Instagram, and good for him. And look, I think this guy is super genuine. I think it's almost in some ways his Achilles heel, but I think he is super genuine. And so I don't think that him posting, Baldoni posting a tribute to mothers and women in his life on Mother's Day is like some kind of Machiavellian move, or they were his team was strategizing like, okay, what would be the best day to have the biggest impact or anything. I don't think it's anything like that. I mean, I just think that the guy really loves the women in his life, and pretty much everybody posts on Mother's Day unless you're an asshole. And no offense if you didn't. I'm not, because I've forgotten also on some Mother's Days to acknowledge it, right? But I'm just saying, like, Mother's Day is something like everybody wants to be celebrating, right, or acknowledging. And so I thought nothing wrong, I don't think, or crazy or devious or whatever about Baldoni posting that tribute, but also like great PR, and it is great. And good for him for doing that. And so anyway, but there was this article about Blake Lively and Taylor Swift, and I'm looking for it because of this little blurb about Selena Gomez. Okay, I think this is it. Okay, let's look at this just for a bit here. I'm gonna pull it up. So Blake Lively is iced out, and I know it's a couple of days old or whatever. Blake Lively is iced out by another A-list bestie whose loyalty is to Taylor Swift, as insiders reveal her brutal Game of Thrones barb. It appears that Blake Lively is more alone than ever, as even her most loyal companions turn their backs on the once beloved actress amid her vicious legal sparring with Justin Baldoni. I'll only make that bigger then so you can see. Okay. As Lively 37 prepares to battle it out in court with her It Ends With Us co-star over allegations of sexual harassment, her former best friend Taylor Swift hasn't been seen with her in months, and now the singer's loyal squad, I hate that word, squad, is seemingly following suit. Among them is model Gigi Hadid, who appears to have iced Lively out. An insider has exclusively told the Daily Mail how Swift's friends. Oh, and here's what I wanted to say, because this is what I was getting at earlier. I want you to understand that the Daily Mail, when they say an insider has told us, like, they don't just make up. I know it seems amazing to think that the Daily Mail has some standards, but I'm just telling you from like past experience and knowledge and stuff, these things, they don't just make up sources. So we know that there is someone that they have verified to some degree who is an insider. And it's not just like some random person. Like, I could call up and pretend to be Taylor Swift's good friend and say, oh, you know what Taylor told me about Justin or whatever. No, that's like, they have to know who you are, right? You have to validate that. And so I'm not saying that the perspective that you get in these Daily Mail from these Daily Mail sources is always correct. Like, they have their own motives for spinning things a certain way and putting certain parts of the story out there, or even lying, right? But I'm saying that it's credible to the extent that this is someone, I absolutely believe this is someone who's an insider here Taylor Swift's camp, or could even be, and Candace Owens has talked about this before, someone that Taylor Swift actually, that her people want putting this message out here or not. Okay. So anyway, just keep that in mind. So it says an insider has exclusively told the Daily Mail how Swift's friends are siding with the pop star and leaving Lively to fend for herself after Baldoni, 41, retaliated with his own $400 million countersuit against the actress and her husband. Okay, next paragraph. The biggest indicator of tensions between Hadid and Lively came last month when the runway star celebrated her 30th birthday with a suitably star-studded party. Okay, so Hadid celebrated her birthday and Lively was not there. Says the guest list included Hadid's actor boyfriend, Bradley Cooper, blah, 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 blah. One face that was absent. Okay, so Lively didn't go. And it says, the insider says it's because Hadid is, quote, no longer friends with her. So this is someone either from Taylor Swift or Hadid's camp or friends or associated with Hadid, or someone is telling the Daily Mail this, right? Of some connect with a credible connection to her. Okay, it says the pair were reportedly introduced through Swift, I guess meaning Lively and Hadid. Oh, yeah. But it is understood that Gigi's loyalty is to Taylor. She is not and will never be one of Blake's dragons, our insider said, citing an alleged text exchange between Baldoni and Lively, etc. Okay, we know this part. We're going to, next paragraph, skip down. It says Swift, who is godmother to Lively's 3 daughters, subsequently felt used, in quotes, by her best friend and took a, quote, step back from their relationship, a source previously told the Daily Mail. For her part, Hadid has, quote, not spoken to Blake for several months, the insider said, adding that Swift is still not in communication with Blake, despite reports suggesting otherwise. Okay, so Swift not talking with Blake. It says the last time Lively and Hadid spoke is believed to be at a pool party Swift threw at her Rhode Island mansion back in August. Before the private star-studded bash, they had happily posed together, looking pally at the Deadpool and Wolverine premiere in New York the month prior. Hadid isn't the only one in Swift's camp to cut ties with Lively, especially after news broke that the pop star was set to be subpoenaed amid the escalating legal battle. And look, I said this in previous video that I did. Let me make my image a little bigger. Sorry. A previous video that I did, that if you don't think that getting subpoenaed is not a big fucking deal to Taylor Swift, like if you don't think that's a big deal, then you are wrong, because it doesn't, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter how many lawyers you have or how much status you have or money or how great things are in your life. No one gets subpoenaed for something, particularly a giant trial of the century type thing. I mean, this is getting, as you know, tons of attention and will continue to be. No one gets subpoenaed for a circus like this and it's just like, yeah, whatever, okay, so I have to take an afternoon off, whatever. No. And she's going to talk, and she's going to be grilled to some extent, Taylor, by Brian Friedman. I mean, the dude is really fucking scary, intimidating. I mean, this is just not nothing. I'm not saying that Taylor is afraid that she's going to get in some kind of trouble, but I'm saying that things can come out that will be problematic to her image and make her look bad. And she doesn't like this shit, right? So I absolutely believe that she's iced Blake out and that these other women don't want anything to do with it either. All right. Says Hadid isn't the only one in Swift's camp to cut ties with Lively, especially after news broke that the pop star was set to be subpoenaed amid the legal escalating battle. It said on Friday, the singer was reportedly sent legal notice confirming the subpoena by Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman. Last month, Swift's NFL boyfriend, Travis Kelce, publicly unfollowed Lively's husband. Talked about this, right? Even though the two couples were previously inseparable. Again, what Donna said about this, absolutely dead on. This was completely for us. Travis Kelce doing that unfollowing, that was not for him. That was completely for us, for the public. They're trying to send he and Taylor a message. We're disassociating from these people. They're like excommunicated from, Planet Taylor Swift. You are being excommunicated from Taylor's squad. Oh my God. She's excommunicated from the squad. Okay. Like Lively, you will hereby, from henceforth, you will cease all communications with the Taylor Swift squad. Okay. Insiders have also told the Daily Mail how Swift's longtime pal, here we go, how Swift's longtime pal, singer Selena Gomez, feels vindicated amid the mass detachment. having allegedly, quote, warned Swift about Lively for years. Huh? So, Selena Gomez, here's the point of this, is that first of all, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, they have been completely iced out of that circle. And probably most circles. I mean, I understand Hugh Jackman. There's a lifelong friendship and partnership there. I'd be disappointed in Hugh Jackman if he weren't standing by Ryan Reynolds, honestly. I mean, that's the thing. If you really are someone's friend, then to a certain extent, you stand by them, right? So I'm not expecting Hugh Jackman to flip or something like that. But like, I really do think probably outside of Blake and Ryan's most tried and true, long-standing or serious friendships, outside of that layer, so to speak, of associations, beyond that, like you step outside that and it gets really, really icy, really, really cold, because nobody wants to be associated with them or with this. And it is like quicksand. Like I said the other day, you get close to it and you start getting sucked in. But kudos to Selena Gomez for whatever. I know she was kind of weird looking when she was doing that crying jag the other day, but I just don't like it when celebrities talk about politics. But good for her that I wonder what it was that actually made Selena Gomez early on, because it said for years, y'all, this Daily Mail article, it said that Selena Gomez had been warning Taylor Swift for years about Blake Lively. So I would be so curious to know. I wonder what it was about Blake Lively that really set off alarm bells for Selena Gomez. I mean, I would have to think it's the general rudeness that we observe in those interviews and that we observe in that footage of her with Baldoni. Remember that video when Blake Lively and Baldoni were dancing and it was being filmed, right? But you could hear what they were saying. And she got so bitchy and so competitive with Baldoni. By the way, while I'm saying this, I want to show you, in case you missed it, in case you're new here, just getting here. And by the way, Blake will come back. Sorry, but it's Colonel Kurtz right now. But I wanted to show you, if you haven't seen it, what Justin Baldoni just posted for Mother's Day earlier today, I guess. I just saw it reported a few hours ago. But he did a Mother's Day tribute. And of course, this is to be dramatic, but this is like breaking his silence in the sense that this is the first time that he has put anything up on his social media or spoken out or anything. And it's with this. Let me see if you can see. Yeah, you can see that. Oh man, I mean, both women in this are so beautiful, but I mean, I just have to say, and I know you all know it, we've talked about it before, his wife, Emily, is so beautiful. And of course, the beauty does not seem to be only skin deep with her. And they do seem to have a really beautiful thing. And look, somebody earlier was talking about or asking about motivation or Blake's motivation. And one of you reminded me of this the other day, that Blake was probably very, very threatened by a relationship as beautiful and it seems like extraordinary as the Baldoni marriage. And I can't remember which of you, I'm sorry, or I'd give you credit, which of you brought this to my attention. But I did want to follow up on that a little bit, because Blake, in that video where she was dancing with Baldoni, or they were shooting the dancing scene or whatever, she got really weirdly competitive with him about their relationships. And you all remember this, I'm sure, where Baldoni made a kind of a joking reference to this exercise where he and his wife, Emily, will stare at each other for like 5 minutes or something and just not talking or moving or anything, just staring, right? It's kind of like an intimacy exercise or whatever. And Baldoni laughed and he said, I know you'd find something like that, Blake, right? You'd find something like that terrifying. And she kind of laughs as if like conceding that she would, right? Which nothing wrong with that. So would I. I would hate that. But then Blake starts talking about how like Ryan, she just wants to, there's not enough hours in the day and she just wants to share everything with him and blah, 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 blah. And talking about basically how great her relationship is, which again is fine. And Baldoni, but this is what's interesting. Remember this? Baldoni says to her, yeah, it's so sweet what y'all have. He used a term like sweet. I don't think it was cute, but it was something like sweet. You can put it in the comments if you remember the exact word. But he said, and he was being totally genuine. It wasn't said in any kind of like snarky way. But it was not enough for narcissistic Blake. Sweet or whatever he said was not enough for her, especially since I think she was feeling very competitive about her relationship versus his. And so she says to him in this really perturbed, annoyed tone, she goes, it's more than sweet, and clearly offended. And this causes Baldoni to kind of stop for a second and sort of stumble a little. If you remember this, he sort of stumbles a bit over his words, and he says, "Well, no, it's adorable, or it's beautiful," or he uses some kind of a term, a descriptor that would be more dramatic, more to her liking. And she kind of sort of pacifies her. But like, you can see that she's actually gets kind of pissed off there, that she felt like he was not, in his descriptive terms, not giving her relationship its due. Now, I say that because to say that your idea, whoever it was that brought this up to me, I think is dead on about this jealousy and this competitiveness about Blake versus Baldoni, and about her relationship versus his marriage. And of course, then if there was any attraction that she felt, which I would have to think there would be, just because he's such an attractive guy. And of course, the more she would get to know him, the more she would discover that he was a really good guy too, right? And I just wonder if, yeah, she was having these feelings of attraction to him that were completely not reciprocated. And that, plus her jealousy about their relationship, Baldoni's and Emily's, contributed to this. It's really interesting to think about. But anyway, so, but this was the picture, and there was some kind of a caption that I talked about earlier. It wasn't very long, but it was sweet. So good for him. And I think this is a totally appropriate and understated way to dip his toe back into things. And I don't think that he should have to not live his life or not do things publicly until this situation resolves. I just don't think that that's realistic. And so, he'll have to be careful, Baldoni will, about what he does publicly and what kinds of venues and the purposes and stuff like that until the trial occurs, this thing is settled. But I think it's good for him to start getting out there. And I think this is perfect. I don't know what y'all think. Let me check my PayPal. Sorry, someone messaged, or someone donated, and I was going to read their super chat. Let's see what we got. Oh, Cindy Souders, thank you so much for that. And let me see if Shelton, Cindy Shelton there. Sorry. And let's see where I just lost your message. I was going to read it. I'm terrible. I'm like my grandfather with technology. It's going really slow. Come on, where were you? Okay. All right. So Sydney Shelton. Just a tip then. Thank you very much. Okay, y'all, I'm open to your super chat. I can bring Blake back, but do y'all want to just kind of chat too about what do you think? So what do you think about these latest developments? What do you think about the marriage, the Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds marriage maybe? And what do you think about Baldoni's return to social media? I'm gonna skim through. I'm gonna go back up to the top a little bit. Khaleesi Dyer says, nice mole. Thank you. I do like her beauty mark. I mean, she's objectively a beautiful person. Oh, can I address, actually, I'm glad you said this because it jogged something in my mind for a minute. I need to put Blake Lively up here for a second while I say this. Can I just address once and for all this constant critique that I get as a Justin Baldoni supporter and a Johnny Depp supporter? And you all tell me if you get this critique as well. I'm just so tired of it because it's so stupid. Can I just once and for all address this idea that I'm criticizing Blake Lively or Amber Heard back in the day because I am jealous of how beautiful they are? Do you all get this? I just get this criticism constantly. And I mean, multiple times a week where these idiots on Twitter or whatever, and I don't respond to them, but they'll be like, they'll, post a picture of one of these women looking beautiful. And they'll say, this is what really upsets you or something like that. I mean, I'm just like, no, actually, it's not that. There are 99.99999% of attractive, really hot women that I don't have a problem with. It's women who try to destroy innocent men's lives using the cloak of feminism and Me Too, and using me as an excuse for that. So anyway, I don't know, but yes, for once and all, let me just say, I think Blake Lively is gorgeous. I think Amber Heard, I don't know what she looks like now, but I thought she was gorgeous. These are very beautiful women, and that's part of what enables them to be so manipulative. So yes, I concur with you. Very, very attractive women. All right, keep going now. Neil Price says, oh, where are we? It's 6:33 here in Wales. And oh, is that where you live? I guess you told me that. Maybe I forgot. I got to go work. Well, you can join us again, Neil. I always appreciate you. One of my biggest fans here. Neil was hoping to ask Blake if that stick up her ass comes out. Sir, that is sexual harassment, and I will not tolerate that toxicity on my YouTube page. So thank you, sir. Miss Lively thanks you for your consideration. I skipped this. Ice Rolandic, thank you so much for that. Hi, Blake. OMG, so excited to see you. Is it true you were playing opposite Penn for one more season of You? That would be... Oh my God, I could bring Blake back for that. But I think Blake told me that she's not going to be doing any kind of work of that nature. But it's interesting you bring up Penn Badgley. So to those who don't know, he's making, and thank you so much for that, he's making a Penn Badgley reference. And can I just say that Penn Badgley is a big mystery to me, because he stayed with Blake Lively for a long time, until apparently I think she broke up with him, right? Stayed with her for a long time. And he, by all accounts, is a super, super, like one of the most chill guys, apparently, that you can imagine. The woman that he ended up marrying is apparently a woman with a lot of depth to her, a lot of substance. I'm talking about psychologically, intellectually, in terms of what she does in her life, and so forth. And I don't think, and she's an attractive woman, but in a way, like, she's not like this sort of like bombshell movie star thing that Penn could have gone for. So I guess this is the point I'm trying to make, is like everything that I know about, or think I know about Penn Badgley, indicates a guy of real substance and strength of character. And I just wonder, how was he in a relationship with Blake Lively for all those years? I just wonder if she was emotionally abusive to him. He's never going to say. He's too much of a gentleman. But I do wonder about Penn Badgley. I do. So thank you for bringing that up. Pretty Butterfly says, "Is that a wig on?" Yeah, no, it's definitely a wig. And so it was looking better when I first got it. And so if you haven't seen my parody video, like a week and a half ago, I did a parody of Blake, the same thing, in character basically, but the wig I'd just gotten, and so it wasn't all messed up. And plus, I'm just lazy. This is just a late night live stream, so I didn't care. And also, the frizzy look makes it more accurate, because I'm not sure that this hair right now is much more unkempt looking than how Blake Lively's hair looks half the time. I do not understand the frizziness. It's not always frizzy. It looks like it's only about a third of the time these days, but it's a lot in that movie. It's frizzy a lot. It looks like, I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen clips. Another Simple Favor. She just seems to really think that she can start a trend, a frizzy trend, I think. And people can say, "Oh my God, Blake Lively is the latest trendsetter. You've just got to get this haircut this summer. This is the haircut that everyone is going to be talking about at the parties this summer. Everyone at the cocktail parties is gonna be wearing this haircut." And it's just like a frizzed out Blake Lively mane. All right. What's up? Vanessa says Taylor's on her way out. I've never had anything against Taylor Swift. I know that her politics have annoyed at times. Her politics have annoyed people close to me, and I get that. I'm just not as political as and into like party politics as I think some people and people around me are. But I never got annoyed with Taylor, even with that. Except for it gets a little old, the whole I'm in my mid-30s almost, but I'm acting still like I'm behaving and living as if I'm late teens. It's a little odd, but then I say to myself, well, that's just her brand. And if that were me and that were working for me, then I would keep doing that. I mean, who's to say what's appropriate behavior anyway, I guess. I mean, a lot of people would look at me and would say, you're behaving inappropriately for someone your age, a middle-aged woman, you need to be married and have kids and stable, not doing all this crazy YouTube stuff. And my mom would have a point there. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. She's not watching. She will, though. She will watch it tomorrow. So happy Mother's Day, Mom. Anyway, I don't know. I lost where I was saying. Yeah. So, wait, what was I saying? Oh, Taylor Swift. So yeah, I never had a big problem with her though. But this could be damaging if it comes out through depositions or leaks or whatever's going to come out with this trial over time. If it comes out that the worst allegations against Taylor Swift actually were true, that, for instance, she got a composer fired from It Ends With Us because of either a personal beef or because Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds wanted a different composer. I don't know that that's true. I'm not arguing that it probably is or what, but I mean, that's something that's been put out there and it's very specific. It sounds like a credible allegation. And I mean, if stuff like that if Taylor Swift has to sit down in a chair in an office for, say, 15 hours or 10 hours or whatever, or even 2 hours, and be grilled by Brian Friedman about her involvement on It Ends With Us and her connections to it, some really shitty stuff about her may come out. And so I don't think it could destroy her brand, so to speak, but it's not something that she wants. Taylor Swift does not want this shit. It's not. Wes says, if it's not officially from her people, it's BS, insider. I mean, I don't think that actually, though. I think that, and I saw Candace Owens talking, and I know, Candace Owens and I share the same feeling of at times I'm just like, girl, what the hell are you, what are you on or whatever, right? In this train of mind. But she was making a good point though here, as she often does. And she said that, that actually, and people from these celebrities camps at times will talk to the Daily Mail and will be these sources because they're trying to get out a particular message. And that's the way they do it. And I just have to say, I have known celebrities who have planted stories, the Daily Mail, or been, or either been sources themselves or have referred the Daily Mail to sources or whatever. And anyway, my point is not that we should just believe everything that the Daily Mail says or know that it's absolutely an insider, but I actually think more likely than not that in this article, we are getting an accurate depiction of how these players are feeling right now. And I just want to remind you too, Travis Kelce unfollowing Blake Lively, or no, I'm sorry, Ryan Reynolds. Travis Kelce unfollowing Ryan Reynolds was not nothing. And we know that because these celebrities, particularly someone like Travis Kelce, who's become such a big super celebrity in his association with Swift, they know that their activity on Instagram and on social media, it is tracked minutely to the detail, microscopically, and particularly follows, because follows are not always, but they're often indicative of it's a sign of a friendship. It's like celebrity, like hieroglyphics or something, right? Reading it, like I said in the video earlier. And so the fact that he unfollowed Ryan Reynolds, he was trying to communicate. He and Taylor Swift however subtle, are trying to communicate to all of us that there's a separation there. And so again, I don't know if it doesn't make the Daily Mail always right or whatever. It could be BS, but that's what I think. Fem Natal says, whoa, I'm loving the blonde hair. Well, let me tell you something. If I had a dark wig that looks like this, I think you would probably love that even more, because I've experimented with different colors and I actually do look better as a brunette. But here's the thing. I'm just not good, never have been good at fixing my hair, nor do I have the patience for it. But when I fix on the rare occasions when I really try to fix my hair, it looks good. It really does. And it definitely improves the overall package, right? So this was the inspiration that I had the other day. Tell me what you all think about this. I got so many compliments on the blonde wig and people saying, man, you should look like this all the time. And I don't take offense to that at all, right? But I thought I should just start wearing wigs because I hate fixing my hair anyway. It's one of the reasons why I don't stream more often or do videos more often is like there's sometimes when I'm feeling like depressed or whatever or tired, I just don't even want to be bothered with having to wash my hair, fix my hair. I mean, I'm serious. It's just the truth here, right? Especially because I work another job and it's physically demanding. And so it was like an inspiration though, because this is a cheap wig. This is like a $15 wig. And when it's fixed properly, when I first got it, it looked really good. It's not like I'm trying to pull something off and fool people, right? I'm not trying to do the French first lady there. I don't believe that, as you know. I don't believe that's a man, but it is a wig. It is a wig that the First Lady of France is wearing. Very obviously a wig that she always wears. And so she probably, at her age, she's just got thinning hair, as a lot of women at that age do. But anyways, but I don't believe she's a man. Don't. But I think, yeah, I just want to start experimenting with wigs. Wouldn't it be fun if every video or every couple of videos or whatever, I have a different wig on and then you all can vote? Anyway, it's not like, because people complain that wigs are hot and they don't feel good, but like I've had this on with the lights on and it's not bothering me at all. So I really do think that I'm glad you said that. I do think that I'm going to start experimenting just with some cheap wigs and let's see what ends up winning out. Ice Rolandic. Oh, we already got that comment. Okay, what's up? I'm gonna take a few more comments, and then we'll see where we are. I have something I want to show you. Want you to watch for a bit and tell me what you think. Just Ricardo says, I got $100 that says Justin's personal rep isn't even in his top 5 priorities. He's probably more crushed about how this has affected his family, people, and movie. Yeah, let me say this about Justin Baldoni here, along the lines of what you're getting at. I initially was very skeptical of him for reasons I think that we all understand, like looking sort of on its surface, the kind of, quote, male feminist, which I know is not even, I think, a label that he claims, but I don't think he's into labels from what I've seen, which is smart. But the whole bias that you all understand, a number of you had perhaps, about the whole male feminist thing, and this guy is full of bullshit, and he's just pretending to be this so touchy-feely, lovey-dovey, whatever. No, I totally believe now that he is a very genuine person, and probably one of the most genuine people around. And so I've done like a really a 180 on my perception of his genuineness, right? So I think that's interesting, and it's interesting you bring that up. And so the danger for Baldoni, I guess, in terms of public perception is now, I think, the people, and I don't know how many there are, but the people who see him as kind of sort of a wuss or wimpy or kind of damaged in that sense, like he's like, for some people, he has become or been made to seem kind of ridiculous. And this is something that came up in the interview that I did with my mom, because she didn't really know the case. As you know, if you saw that interview, and if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. I think it's kind of an interesting conversation. But she doesn't watch my videos on this stuff, and she really didn't know the case hardly at all. And so with the Baldoni Blake Lively situation, and so I was describing it to her, just basic surface details, and she was amazed at how much of a, quote, pushover, as she said, how much of a pushover he was. And we kind of like chuckled about that. And then afterward, I felt bad about it because I knew how it would come across. And it was something probably that I should have in the moment corrected and explained to her. But actually, as we know, there was so much context around that where he was really powerless in a lot of ways to exert more control or aggression or whatever, because he was bound by Sony and all of these executives that were lined up with Blake Lively, because she and Ryan Reynolds had so manipulated so many things, really, truly a David and Goliath situation. And so I think that there is this misperception, unfortunately, though, and it's something that even I can fall prey to at times, of seeing Baldoni, in a sort of a weak light, as someone who got, rolled over by Blake Lively. And there's a kind of almost a ridiculousness for some people to that. I don't think most people, but I mean, even Megyn Kelly, right? She at one point really ridiculed him and his masculinity, or his weak masculinity, as she described it. And I've told you before about my significant other, who's not interested in this case, but he's ex-military, kind of your stereotypical alpha male, and he hasn't said much of anything about the Baldoni thing. He even went with me, remember, to the premiere and held my sign and stuff. But what he has said is that he's like, man, that guy is such a wuss. I'm sorry, but I'm just saying, like, and so do I think that that is representative of a lot of people? I don't think so. I think that Baldoni pretty much has a really people have a very, in general, have a very positive impression of him. And I don't see what could happen to spoil that, unless, hypothetically speaking, there were some like dark revelations that came out in the course of this thing with Blake. But I don't think that there are going to be, because I think that Blake Lively has spent her ammunition. I think she and Ryan Reynolds have already long time ago spent their ammunition in this. And they just didn't realize, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, they didn't realize the fight that was in store for them. And so they spent all their ammunition with that stupid CRD complaint and with that stupid New York Times article. And that's all they got. So I don't think there are going to be dark secrets about Baldoni or his marriage or whatever coming out. I don't know really what Baldoni's kryptonite is. The only thing that I would say, I guess, to conclude my advice for Baldoni is really what I said when all this first happened, when he first filed his lawsuit, is you just don't want to ever be perceived as gloating, even if you absolutely, Justin, have every right to gloat and to feel that way. And I personally wouldn't hold it against you or wouldn't care if you did gloat. But you don't ever in this coming year, you don't ever in your appearances, wherever they may be, you don't want to make it appear that you're enjoying or have enjoyed any part of this process of this saga, or that you have enjoyed or are enjoying the increased attention and newfound fame that you've gotten with any of those things. And I don't think that he would give off that Justin would give off that impression anyway, but that's what I see is basically like the only danger for him. And so really it's for me, it's just a question of is really how much of we know that Blake Lively is lost and is going to lose in the court of public opinion. But in terms of the legal thing, I know that it is hard. It's tough to prove defamation. We talk about like California and all the barriers there to men who have tried to do what Justin Baldoni is doing. Not, Marilyn Manson case, no, not exactly the same, different in a number of ways. Johnny Depp case, no, not exactly the same, different in a number of ways. But there were reasons why Johnny Depp did everything that he could, legally speaking, to not have to face Amber Heard in California, and also why Marilyn Manson ended up having to withdraw his suit against Evan Rachel Wood and Elma Gore, even though he really did have so much compelling evidence. And that thing was just, she faked an FBI letter. But anyway, that's a whole other story. So I guess my point is, oh God, what was my point? What time is it? What planet are we on? Oh my God. All right. Let me check and make sure that I haven't skipped any other super chats. And, thank you for bringing this up. This is a good thing to talk about. Mariatani K-Swope. Sorry if I butchered your name there. It sucks that Justin's foundation shut down. Yeah. Man, you're going to get me now. Girl, you're going to get me now all worked up and angry at these two motherfuckers here now. Yeah, the Wayfarer Foundation, which was, again, I think pretty much mostly, for the most part, was founded on Baha'i principles and was geared toward humanitarian causes. Some of it, maybe politically is not up my alley, but it doesn't really matter if I loved every single thing that the charity was involved in. Like it was clearly the Wayfarer Foundation. It was clearly committed to having a really positive impact on the world. And everything that I have read about the central players on that side, from Steve Sarowitz to Jamie Heath to Justin Baldoni, is, and to their wives, is that these are really, really good people, right? I think the term is salt of the earth, really, really good people. And that's why it is so infuriating to see that these people, it's not just when something like this happens to you, like what Blake and Ryan have done to all these people at Wayfarer. It's not just one small corner of your life. I've seen this before. It's not just one small corner of your life that gets detonated. It's like all over your life, all of these different things that gave you joy or that gave you purpose or meaning or connection or pleasure or whatever, they get shut off. And when you get canceled, like Justin got canceled, and then you might say, well, and even after the tide turned, there's so much residual damage and this legal fight and all of the shit now that Wayfarer is having to deal with, and that these guys are having to deal with. Of course, they don't have the time or the energy or the money to put toward the foundation's causes. But there is so much collateral damage in these types of situations. And I mentioned the Marilyn Manson thing earlier. I mean, Manson's wife is a photographer, Lindsay Usage. She's an amazing photographer. And you can go online, see her work. I did a video, actually, I'll link to it below, analyzing it, talking about it with some other artists and museum curators. Anyway, here's the point. Like, before Manson got canceled, before these false allegations and this whole hoax ensnared him, his wife Lindsay had really had this beautiful burgeoning career in photography, and she had this really, as I understand it, really great agent, and she was about to do a big show, like kind of her opening show, I think in LA or New York or something. Anyway, the point is, overnight, when her husband was accused of all that shit, all that bullshit, overnight, her photography career, it's just destroyed. And all the offers that she had gotten were rescinded, and people dropped representation, no more art show and all that, and whatever. But it's just an example that pops into my head. But I'm just saying, like, these people like Blake and Ryan, the things that they do, they are so destructive to so many people on so many levels, and it's just evil. There is just no other term in my mind that is appropriate for what Blake and Ryan have done and are continuing to do, but evil. It is absolutely evil. And I thought that in that conversation that I had with my mom the other day, that one of the most interesting parts of the conversation, and I'm going to play more of it soon, get that next video out, but one of the most interesting parts of the conversation was trying to analyze or figure out what is the emotion that is driving Blake and Ryan here to seize onto this one guy, Baldoni, who's so benign and was so compliant, and to fixate on him. And my mom used this term, this phrase that I thought was great. She was like, yeah, it's like dogs at the smell of blood or whatever, or like sharks, in the water smelling blood. It's like these two got crazy fucking fixated on Baldoni. And it's just, I don't know. I know I'm going with that, except to say it is crazy. It is crazy. Wes says the number one thing a narcissist is afraid of is being exposed. They will kill to keep that secret. Example, Ezra McCandless. I don't know what you're talking about there, but now I'm going to look it up. Okay. I'm going to look it up in a little while when I can't. The music lover says, me who got a disability is fuming over the charity, but what do we expect? What do we expect from a girl? Sonia says, Team Justin always. The music lover, I just feel bad about the kids. Sure. And of course, Justin has kids, right? His family. It's like, Blake is so boohoo. What I've been through the past 2 years and all the pain that I'm going through, and my children get me through it, and blah, blah, blah. She's whining to Seth Meyers and talking about her kids and all of that. And it's like, well, Blake, Justin Baldoni has kids too. Justin Baldoni has all of these things, and you try to destroy them. Yeah, the neurodivergent thing, Wes, I hear you. They're trying to use that at times as a shield. Edward says, the Blake Lively drama is like nicotine addiction is destroying my life. Nobody gives a darn. I know. Well, Hold on a second. Hey, Kitty. Kitty says legal fees are so astounding. I figured they'd settle. I don't know. Yes, it's almost like sharks. Well, they are so astounding, but here's the thing is we have a situation, y'all. It's like the Soviet Union and America with the nuclear escalation of the 60s or what have you. Like, you had these two superpowers who were billionaires. I'm not talking about Baldoni, but Wayfarer, right? The guy who's backing Baldoni, Steve Sarowitz, a billionaire. So you've got a billionaire on that side. And I do believe that quote that was attributed to him about being willing to spend 100 million, because I mean, that's about what it might take. No, but I mean, I think he's committed to this as well. He should be. So you've got a billionaire on one side backing Baldoni. And then you've got almost billionaires with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, because I don't know how liquid they are. I know they like own a team and this and that, but like they probably all of their assets together are getting close to $1 billion. And so they can afford legal fees. And so it's interesting because you basically have this situation of escalation of like, it's like an arms race. It's an arms race. It's a legal arms race, but it's an arms race. Well, it's a PR arms race as well. And oftentimes what happens is that one or both sides don't have the money, don't have the resources to allow the continued escalation of the arms race. But in this, and this is one of the things that makes it such a crazy story, is you have two sides that can spend and are basically, I think, comfortable spending as much as necessary. I do think that. So I don't think it's going to be money that causes Blake Lively to stop, Blake and Ryan to stop. What I think the only thing that could get them to stop or to settle would be if someone could get it through their heads that it is impossible for them to win. I mean, win in the court of public opinion, that they really are done and that they're just making the situation worse for themselves. If someone around them could get that thought really through their head, where they could really hear that and believe it, then you can see some rationality. But I don't think that's not getting in. Not when she's going on Seth Meyers and she's talking about how she's standing up, just like women throughout history. And she's giving that Time 100 speech, that really dark doomsday speech about how women have to learn they're never going to be safe and all that. I'm going to play some of that in a minute. I know you've heard it, but like, this woman is so deep in the rabbit hole of self-delusion. And I don't know if Ryan is or not. I assume he is, but Blake sure is. And I don't see her stepping back from that anytime soon. I could be wrong, but maybe I guess it's possible that behind that facade, there is a ton of self-doubt, but that's not being reported by anyone. In fact, the opposite is being reported. Again, sources saying that Blake Lively apparently feels that she is the next iteration of Me Too. I guess the next iteration being like toxic workplace environments or what, I don't know. But if that's what she's saying. All right. I really appreciate these super chats. Let me see what we got here. I think my phone went off too, but let's look here. Dan, oh, what's up? Good to see you as always. I hate that the court date is pushed so far out. It is in March, unless things have changed. March. I worry that it gives fake Jively the chance to pull a rabbit out of her hat. She is manipulative, no scruples. And I will thank you. Check PayPal. I mean, you could be right. The thing that I guess, Dan, the thing that gives me some security or comfort when it comes to this is knowing that Brian Friedman is as good a lawyer as anyone can get, and that he's as tough and shrewd and savvy and ballsy as anyone can get. And if I were a celebrity or a rich person, I got into some kind of legal trouble, I absolutely would call him. He would be the one above everyone else, even though there's other great ones, Alex Spiro and Manson's attorney, and of course, Adam Waldman and the Brown Rudnick. I know there's controversy about them, but the Brown Rudnick people and all of that, right? I mean, there's lots of good ones, but I do think that Brian Friedman is amazing. So that gives me a little bit of comfort. But yeah, I mean, Blake is extremely manipulative, and up to a certain point, she was extremely effective until Justin Baldoni started fighting back. But I mean, she got that whole fucking cast turned against him. And it seems like out of nowhere for no reason. It seems like he was a really nice guy and a super nice director, and that cast had no reason to dislike him. It seems like Blake Lively got that whole cast to just do her bidding out of nothing but, I guess, sheer, cajoling and pressure and persuasiveness, or I don't know, or something more, incentives maybe, as people have speculated. But anyway, I hear you. All right. CP says, big thanks on your hard work for covering this news. You're the best. Thank you. Thank you. And Howery, thank you for that. Appreciate that. Let me check the PayPal. Make sure I didn't miss a message. And then I think we'll take a little break, and I'm going to come back with some stuff for us to watch. And then maybe Blake will say goodbye, and that'll be it. But I think I got another 30, 40 minutes, 30, 45 minutes. Okay, hold on one second. Checking PayPal, then I'll come back. Anyways, okay, I see it. I see Dan. Thank you so much. Says Justin won't be gloating, not publicly. Like Johnny, he's too classy for that. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with that. And I'll say this, and I've said it before, I think there is a giant silver lining in this situation, in what has happened to Justin Baldoni. A silver lining that I think actually he will look back and be glad that all of this happened, which is that this has really introduced everyone to him. This has made him a giant star. And hopefully, once this cloud sort of dissipates, then he can take that stardom and that notoriety and, frankly, that love and appreciation that I think most people feel to some degree from him, or at least, hey, I like that guy. He seems cool. It's too bad what happened, what Blake did to him and all that, right? That kind of, I think, warm sentiment that most people have for him. It'll be interesting to see then what he can do with that artistically or creatively, or as a producer or actor or writer. I don't know. But anyway, I agree with you on that. So, okay, I'm going to take a little break for 10 minutes, and then I'll come back because I feel like I can still stream a bit, and I've got some stuff for us to watch. And so that might be kind of interesting, kind of cool. I don't know, y'all, but I'll read your chats too when I come back as well. But anyway, okay. So I'm going to be gone for a little while. I'll be back for those who are true night owls. If you're truly a night owl, I will see you in about 10 minutes. Do you want me to give you something to watch? I guess I don't know. Sometimes people like when I do these breaks, people like for me to leave a video so they can stay and chat with each other. So I don't know, but give me a second. I'll be back with something in just a second. Here that I wanted to follow.
some people who support Blake Lively online have tried to tell me that this is just normal behavior. And in fact, men do this all the time.
That's totally untrue. All of that to a studio or producer would be a little disconcerting. You kind of want people who want to do their job. You don't want an editor who wants to suddenly act.
Yeah.
Or an actor who wants to edit.
So I'm so thrilled about our guest. I've been trying to get him on my show forever. This is Roy Price. He founded Amazon Studios, was the studio head of Amazon for a while, and then before that was an executive at Disney, worked at McKinsey. I mean, this guy has a crazy impressive resume in the entertainment industry. So we're here, first of all, to talk about a tweet of yours, a recent tweet that blew up and it went viral. And I think you were actually kind of surprised by the intensity of the reaction here. So I want to look at it quickly and we'll talk about it. This Lively Baldoni thing was a huge mistake. This sort of thing worked in 2017 when no one was suing, but now you have to bring actual facts to a jury with cross-examination. I love this. That's a good way to wrap your Ferrari around a palm tree. Insisting that she not be deposed by Brian Friedman, Blake Lively insisting that, is just the cherry on top. Too late to walk it back now. Oh well, Baldoni could easily have $100 million in damages. So is this still your estimation of things? Has Blake Lively made a terrible mistake? Has she wrapped her Ferrari around a palm tree?
Well, I do think the damages for Baldoni could be very considerable, definitely in the 100 million range or above that, which is obviously problematic.
So let's say that Blake Lively finally realized that she needed to capitulate in a big way. And so she gave Team Baldoni and Brian Friedman what they seem to be wanting, which is a full retraction. Let's say that she did that. Do you think that then her reputation and her career could be salvaged? They walk it back, it could be salvaged in some way?
Well, I don't think it would be what it was, because this whole thing has just come off as like a very odd episode. Like you're the actor in the movie. Normally when you signed up to act in it, you didn't sign up to be the co-writer or anything like that. So the whole thing, and then like doing your own edit, like
you're talking about Blake Lively's behavior on this, basically?
Yeah, like that all of that to a studio or producer would be a little disconcerting. You kind of want people who want to do their job. You don't want an editor who wants to suddenly act.
Yeah.
Or an actor who wants to edit. Like,
right.
If you want it, say so in advance, and like we can make that arrangement. But so the whole thing does come off as a bit odd. And if the accusations in the New York Times thing ultimately come off as like, that looks like a scheme, then that is definitely not good.
Can I ask you quickly, you bring up something here that I wanted to follow up on. You said that it could be disconcerting to a studio if you have someone who is going to conduct themselves professionally, like it's alleged that Blake Lively did, taking over these roles, etc. Would you go so far as to say then this is very unusual behavior? Because some people have tried to tell me, who support Blake Lively online, have tried to tell me that this is just normal behavior. And in fact, men do this all the time, but it's only because it's a woman that it's seen as pushy. But if it were a man doing this, trying to take over other roles or exert more creative control in a film, we would just see that as like, oh, he's such an artist. You think that's true?
That's totally untrue. I mean, having the actor in the editing room is extremely unusual, and then just at all, just even to visit, but to be there alone without the director doing your own cut, like what on earth is going on? Like, who's in charge of this movie? And then to be having all these meetings in the middle of production about how, I've rewritten this scene and that scene. I understand people get tempted by that sometimes, but it's kind of frowned upon. Like when we start the movie, we're looking to shoot whatever it is, 5 pages a day. We're not looking to sit around and talk about everybody's new version of the second act. That's problematic. I don't know. It sounds like a roll of the dice. No one wants that kind of thing. In any case, you're never getting in the editing room for sure. So it's extremely unusual, like on pretty unheard of. So So anyway, but is the whole situation reparable? Probably. People have short memories, and it's probably reparable with an appropriate walk back. But I would get to that pretty soon. And for Baldoni, you gotta like whatever gesture is offered to sort of make peace. It has to be a lot. It has to be convincing.
Mm,
It can't just be like, oh, sorry, see you later. Because once you have something like this occur, no one sort of digs into the facts to see you guilty or you're not guilty. Was the claim serious, not serious? No one has time. No one's like a private detective, they don't want to be a private detective, so
right.
you might think, or he might think, oh, it's all going to be fine, let's just move on, I'll take like $10 million and an apology on Instagram and like let's move on. You could regret that. Like the damages could be much more serious. It could be as serious as you fear in the worst case scenario, even with an apology. So unless that is some kind of super rock solid apology, then unfortunately you kind of do have to go through the whole litigation. But it looks reasonable that the case will probably get to discovery, which involves depositions, involves handing over all your texts, stuff like that. That would not be good. Like if there's going to be a settlement, you want to do it like before then. I mean, the other thing that is a variable is how real Blake Lively.
The only thing more popular than me is Wild Natural deodorant.
Cherry Blossom. Oh, I wish I could sniff your pits all day. You totally can. Wild lasts for 24 hours.
Plus, with all of their different reusable cases, Wild matches all of our outfits. I did it.
Thinks it all is.
I think that one of the interesting things about, and I wouldn't presume here to know her psychiatric situation, but with people that like Amber Heard types that I think are cluster B type, she was a diagnosed borderline. Actually, there is a real propensity to rewrite reality in one's mind. I think that's one of the symptoms of it, to where some of these false accusers, they actually believe their own bullshit. And I wonder with Blake Lively, it seems like, as you've said, I agree, she needs to settle. She needs to end this. But I wonder if she is really in a delusional state, or she just thinks that she's entitled to do what she's done for some kind of ideological reasons. The Hollywood Reporter, not always accurate, but they claimed that, they had spoken to someone close to Lively and Lively's camp, who claimed that Lively sees herself as the next iteration of Me Too. And so if that's in this,
you're going to say the next iteration of Amber Heard.
Well,
it's like, wow, that's not, you don't want that.
I think that's the truth there of what she actually is. But no, the next iteration of Me Too, and that she's basically standing up for all women who have to put up with toxic workplaces and so forth. And I just think, man, if that really is, we don't know, but if that really is a reflection of her state of mind, then she's a ways to go from accepting reality.
I mean, that's the thing. If she knows that whatever, she has this evidence and it's all real, and it's all going to come out, then great. And she's kind of striking a blow for justice and all. If that's all real, great, but that's got to be true, because there might have been a time where you could say, okay, well, this guy's, you're kind of arguing about who really gets to finish this movie and stuff like that. And look, you know what? We're going to meet to him. We got the New York Times on our side. I got my friend over there. They're going to do this and that, and it's going to be done, and it's over. And that it's one step, one and done. And that is the way it used to be. No one looked into is this true?
Right.
You don't talk to the guy in question. That's against the rules. And for a little while, there was this rule set where you absolutely could not lose. You had a guaranteed winning outcome.
I am just pulling up this video. I want us to take a little time. And like I said, I think I can go for 30 minutes, maybe a little more. We'll see. But and welcome back, by the way. Thank you, those who are joining us. While it is 2:17 my time, Central Time, 2:17 in the morning. And so welcome back. And if you're just now joining us, welcome. but I think that I wanted to look just a bit at a little bit of that Time 100 speech, not the whole thing. God, it was so boring. But toward the end of Blake Lively's Time 100 speech, there's a couple of things I just wanted to look at and to comment on. So I'm pulling that up. And then the other thing I want to do is look at the video again of Baldoni and Lively dancing that I know a lot of you have seen. The footage from It Ends With Us. We won't watch the whole thing, but I want to go back because I actually never commented on or gave a commentary on that. I mean, I made a couple of observations about it, but there's actually a lot going on in there, I think, in a juicy way psychologically. I wish that I had actually had my mom watch that and react to it. I think maybe I'll do that next time I see her. But I think there's a lot of juicy stuff in that exchange or series of exchanges on the dance floor between Baldoni and Lively. So we'll look at that. And then if I'm up to it, maybe Blake Lively will come back and take a few more questions. I don't know. We will see. If you're just joining us hoping for my Blake Lively impersonation, you'll have to go back toward the beginning at this point. But I also did a whole video, a week ago, where I was pretending to be her. So I don't know. I do want to say one thing, though, about Roy Price, since I was just playing that as filler, that interview that I did with him. He was the former... If you hadn't seen that interview, I think most of you have, but Roy Price was the former studio head at Amazon Studios. And so anything related to the movies that you watch when you click on Amazon Prime as well. And he started the studio. So he started Amazon Studios and then was studio head for several years until he got abruptly Me Too'd out of there. And I'm not going to rehash this whole thing, but I just want to say, if you haven't seen his story, you should watch that video, or there's another video where I talked about his story specifically with him. I think of all of the false Me Too cases that I have covered, and I've covered a lot of them, some just briefly and some like with the Depp and Manson stuff extensively. Of all of the false Me Too cases, Roy Price's seemed the most undeserved and completely out of left field. And what I mean by that is there are some situations where, like, say with Johnny Depp or Marilyn Manson, where you can say to yourself, well, what happened to them, what those women did to them was totally awful. But you can also see where the way that they were choosing to live their lives, that they were making choices and repeatedly making choices to basically, choices that would lead to then these women doing these things to them, right? And so, for instance, there were tons of red flags about Amber Heard, and people warning Johnny Depp about her and all that, right? But he persisted with her, and then eventually it blew up in his face. Or like with Marilyn Manson, right? Who has just admitted blatantly on the record that he is like, quote, flypaper to damaged women, in that he gravitates toward, and they gravitate toward him, women with psychological problems, right? And it was kind of a joke on his part, but also true. And so what you get with some of these guys, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is you see guys who are playing with fire in their lives and living on the edge in terms of the women that they are dating or romantically involved with. And it doesn't mean that they deserve what ends up happening to them. But you look at that and there's a certain sense of, to a degree of like, well, who could have seen that coming, right? But with Roy Price and what happened to him, it was so bizarre. And the fact that there was so little basis for her claims, and that there was even someone in the cab with them, in the Uber with them, who apparently spoke against the accuser's story, said it didn't happen. And even with that, Roy Price was fired, and he's not accused of even touching anyone. It was he claims, a joke or series of jokes that were misunderstood or blown out of proportion, and then later intentionally twisted to fit with the Me Too moment. So I'm not going to rehash the whole thing with him, but it was just so sad. It's just so sad to see someone lose their entire career that, like with him, he had built, and like with all of these guys who are falsely accused, spent decades of his life, blood, sweat, and tears, working his way up to that position, only to have it taken away from him by absurd claims. It's just, anyway. So that's, what are you going to do? But I get so tired of seeing it. And it's the same thing with Justin Baldoni. Same thing. Okay. So hello, everybody, and welcome. And I want to look at a little bit of this toward the end. I know, like I said, that y'all have already seen it. And so this is Blake Lively at the Time 100 event. She chose to basically make her mom a kind of a prop, or to make her mom the focal point of her speech. And basically her mom apparently experienced some kind of extreme workplace harassment with someone who threatened to or attempted to, it's not really clear, but kill her mom. And so if that happened, it's horrible or whatever, right? I'm not sure how it relates to Blake Lively, but of course, Blake Lively wants us to think that her fight against the toxic workplace that Wayfarer and Justin Baldoni imposed upon her, subjected her to, is similar to her mom's fight against this murderous coworker. I don't know. I just feel like we are in cuckoo land with all of this. And notice the way that she's just clinging so performatively to her mom during this. But we're going to play a little of this, and then I have some things to say here.
Are you really going to miss this?
We do this training once a year. There's 8.
And Tony Robbins, solve all of my problems. I want to know. Okay.
With the story she heard with the shame. It's for them. My mom never got justice from her work acquaintance who attempted to take her life when she was the mother of 3 young kids years before I was born. She has always credited her beating heart today with the story she heard from another woman in a similar circumstance, speaking on the radio as my mom drove home one day, entirely unaware of the future ahead in which she would call upon this critical moment to save her own life. The woman painfully and graphically shared how she escaped. And because of hearing that woman speak to her experience instead of shutting down in fear and unfair shame, my mom is alive today. She was saved by a woman whose name she'll never know. I am alive and standing here with you all today.
With me. I apologize. Here's my question, okay, that I don't understand. The reason it took me so long to notice that I wasn't on is because I'm just totally confused. I don't understand her story. She's saying that her mom would not have had her, or would not have been alive to have her, if her mom had not heard this stranger telling a story of her own harrowing experience. Is that what she's saying? Am I stupid? I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm not even trying to be cute or funny right now. I've heard this thing like 3 or 4 times now. I've played it, and I still don't really understand. But Blake says that she would not be here if her mom had not heard on the radio the stranger talking about her own experience of victimization. So I guess she's wanting us to think that her mom would have would have killed herself. Or, I mean, this is Blake. She's putting out there that, or her mom would have done something to herself, or would have not have had kids. I don't understand. Okay, keep going.
I am here, and my mom is here because that woman not only survived, but she told others how. It's a silent torch of womanhood that we come to know, a pact that privately we must show others how to survive, literally or spiritually. We don't let our daughters know, but one day we break their hearts by letting them in on the secret that we kept from them as they pranced around in princess dresses, that they are not and will likely never be safe at work, at home, in a parking lot, in a medical office, online, in any space they inhabit, physically, emotionally, professionally. But why does that torch have to be our?
I really hate this. I really hate this line of thinking and this way of expressing it here. And I know she's trying to be dramatic, but this is and look, I consider myself an extremely cynical, depressive person. And those of you who followed my work, and my mods know, they've sat here through some videos, some streams where I've just talked for hours about how horrible life is and pointless and blah, 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 blah. When I was in that frame of mind, which I do get into at times. But this is such a disturbing, if she's being serious here, that this is a legacy or a mindset that she intends, not only intends to pass along to her daughter, but that she thinks that this is actually good parenting for her to bestow this way of thinking one day on her daughter. That's really, really disturbing. She's going to have to spoil her daughter's, tiara princess world with the notion one day that she will never be safe, that it is impossible, basically, to distill all of this, right? Tell me if I'm hearing this wrong. What she's saying, it's impossible for her daughter, for a woman, to ever feel safe. Now, look, I can hear the Blake Lively defenders in my mind jumping in and saying, no, you know what she's saying. She's just saying that the world is crazy. Just like you've said, Kurtz, many times, that the world is crazy and there's lots of violence and chaos and animalism in the world. And you've got to be street smart. You got to be wise, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but that's not the vein in which this is being presented here. And what, Blake Lively, she is not about being tough or assertive in a truly independent way. What she is about is using covert mechanisms and manipulation and lies and fabrications to achieve what she wants. And so I think that it's just really disturbing that if she's not going to tell her daughter this, first of all. I can't imagine her sitting down one day with her daughter at any age and trying to put such a depressing line of thinking on her kid like that. But if this is really what Blake Lively thinks or intends to pass on to her daughter, that's really disturbing. And that's coming from someone like me, who's very cynical and depressive anyway, and would normally agree with a negative way of looking at things. But this is almost laughable. It really, really is. And the thing that I hate about it is that it all comes down to a bunch of whining. It does remind me, I'm sorry, those of you who like Meghan Markle in my audience, but it does remind me of Meghan Markle's similar kind of, Meghan and Harry, similar kind of whining, grievance oriented. Oh, they'll never treat us equally, or they never this, or she'll never be safe, or you can never be happy. Basically, like, you're just doomed by this sexist world. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay.
Our burden to carry in private. How can we not all be our burden to carry in private? Office, online, in any space they inhabit, physically, emotionally, professionally. But why does that torch have to be our burden to carry in private? How can we not all agree on that basic human right? I know the superpower of female triumph, though. I have touched it. I have shaken hands with it. And I am looking at it all over this room here right now.
It's so painful. The metaphor, the metaphors. What's funny too? I didn't say this earlier, but like when Blake Lively was delivering that really depressing series of lines about basically spoiling the innocence of the tiara mindset with the fact that, her daughter's never going to be safe or whatever, but she was smiling the whole time she was saying that, because I guess, Blake, she's been taught before that you always want to smile and put your, most cheerful face forward and all of that. Right. And so she's smiling. She's trying, you can see her trying to hold the smile while she's giving this really depressing speech. Dan Campbell, what is up? Says Amber said recently she would tell her daughters about the trial and that it would mean something. Oh shit. I'm glad you brought up Amber. Give me 30 seconds to finish this. And we've got to talk about Amber's kids briefly. Thank you.
These
Dan.
are the happy endings that we must see as women and girls. We can make it to the end alive, physically or emotionally. And we will, and we do, and we...
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I actually have never really listened to this part before. We can make it to the end alive. Is that what we're aspiring to now? I kind of think of that as a baseline. I'm hoping we can stay alive for a while. Oh my God. Maybe it's wrong that I'm laughing at this. I'm sorry. Can I blame it on the fact that it's 3:30 Eastern in the morning? We can make it to the end. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. I got to rewind it.
we must see as
Wait.
women in superpower of female
Oh
triumph.
yeah, the
though.
superpower. I need that part.
Physically, emotionally, professionally. But why does that torch have to be our burden to carry in private? How can we not all agree on that basic human right? I know the superpower of female triumph, though. I have touched it. I have shaken hands with it. And I am looking at it all over this room here right now. These are the happy endings that we must see as women and girls. We can make it to the end alive, physically or emotionally. And we will, and we do.
All right. I guess it was a metaphor too. She said emotionally as well, but we can make it alive. We can make it out alive. Oh man. So her daughter, I see here, her daughter is going to get several messages when she gets close to adulthood, I guess. One is that will never be safe. It's a jungle out there, baby girl, and you can maybe make it to the end of life. Okay, all right. So let's talk about. Thank you, Dan, for bringing this up. How many of you had not heard this? The Amber Heard baby thing. Amber Heard, Justin Baldoni. Let's put it this way: Justin Baldoni is not the only one who was posting for Mother's Day. Amber Heard reveals in a surprise Mother's Day announcement. Hold on a second. All right. Amber Heard is swimming into a new chapter of parenthood, it says. The Aquaman star, who was already mom to 3-year-old daughter Una Page Heard, who I absolutely all believe, I would bet huge money on it, is absolutely Elon Musk's daughter. And I've talked about before why I think this is, so I won't get into it again. But yes, so anyway, already mom to this 3-year-old by Elon Musk, has now welcomed twins. Quote, and this is Amber now saying this, Mother's Day 2025 will be one I'll never forget, the 39-year-old wrote on Instagram. Quote, this year I am elated beyond words to celebrate the completion of the family I've strived to build for years. Today, I officially share the news that I welcomed twins into the Heard gang. That sounds kind of frightening, the Heard gang. Yeah, we know what the Heard gang singular was able to achieve, the havoc that you were able to wreak in Johnny Depp's life. So I don't know. I'm a little scared about the expansion of the Heard gang, as she puts it. All right. She says, my daughter's Agnes and my son Ocean. Okay, that's their names. Okay, so she named her new kids, Agnes and Ocean. So we've got Una, Agnes, and Ocean. I mean, look, objectively speaking, it's not bad names. I've definitely heard much weirder with celebrities. It says the Rum Diary actress also reminisced in her in this post, I guess, about how she first became a mother in 2021 when she welcomed her eldest daughter via surrogate. This is the Elon Musk baby, I really think, as well. All of them. Quote, when I had my first baby girl, Una, 4 years ago, my world changed forever, she wrote. I thought I couldn't possibly burst with more joy. Well, now I am bursting times 3! Exclamation points. Becoming a mother by myself and on my own terms, despite my own fertility challenges. Oh, of course, she's going to have to whine about fertility challenges. Everybody has to whine. Look, I have a number of good friends and acquaintances who absolutely have struggled with fertility problems. And I know that it's so painful. But can I just say, everybody, that it really kind of drives me nuts to hear people that I think are exaggerating or using it for leverage in a conversation or whatever or on social media to get sympathy clicks to go on and on about their fertility problems. It's just, anyway, I'm just like, of course she'd be talking about that. So she says, yeah, despite my own fertility challenges has been the most humbling experience of my life. Amber continued, I am eternally grateful that I was able to choose this responsibly and thoughtfully. To all the moms, wherever you are today and however you got here, my dream family and I are celebrating with you. Love always, Amber. It says Amber's rep had told E! News in December that the actress was expanding her family, noting it is still quite early in the pregnancy. You will appreciate that we do not want to go into much detail. Suffice to say that Amber is delighted both for herself and her daughter, Una Page. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, yeah. So Amber Heard has 3 kids. Well, here's a question that we pondered a while back, when Amber had her first child. I actually think, one of you was asking me the other day, whatever happened to Celtic Iron, the porn star that I used to do videos with, and I am still friends with him. And I even saw him when I went to LA last time and posted a picture of it. We were standing outside the Menendez brothers family home. But our lives just kind of both got really busy and went in different directions. And he decided to not to kind of lay off the YouTube thing and to focus on other stuff, right? So nothing bad happened or whatever, and I wish him well. I'd love to see his continued success and what he's been up to. But we did a video, he and I, when she had her first baby, and we speculated about whether it was possible for Amber Heard to be a good mother or not. Hold on. I hear my guy is up. I need to say goodnight to him. I'll be back. 30 seconds to a minute. All right. He really had fallen asleep on the couch watching a history documentary. It really was about the Civil War too, because he, like a number of men, I think, is really into history documentaries, and so. But he had fallen asleep, so I heard him getting up, and I was going to tell him goodnight. So, what were we saying about Amber? Okay, and so here was the question, that we were trying to figure out: is it possible for someone to be as messed up psychologically as we know that Amber is, to do what she did to Johnny Depp, right? And the stuff that we learned about her and all of that, right? Is it possible for someone to be that messed up in those respects, but to still be a good mother? What do you think? Is it possible? I hope so. I hope, for the children's sake, that Amber's issues are just confined to men and her manipulation of men and whatever. I don't know. But I think it's an interesting question. That's what we talked about that. I don't think we came to a conclusion on the answer on that. Dan Campbell said, Amber said recently she would tell her daughters about the trial, that it would mean something. Oh God, I'm so sick of her bloviating too. We don't care what you think, Amber. We really don't. I'm only interested a little bit in this because I think it's Elon Musk's babies. I think that, let me just say this, and then I'm gonna kind of close up shop here, I think. Well, I did want to watch that Baldoni video. I promised you all that dance video, so we'll watch that. But let me just say something here to close out this thing about Amber. I think this man is borderline addicted to procreating. I'm not even joking. I am absolutely, you hook me up to a polygraph machine right now and you ask me this question and you will see that I really believe it. I think Elon Musk is in some way addicted to procreating. And I don't exactly know the parameters of it. And it's because obviously he's not procreating with just every woman he encounters or every woman who would be willing, because we know there are a lot of women who would be willing with the big check that comes with it, right? So I don't know like what the parameters are and all of that for like when he sort of engages in this compulsive breeding behavior or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, I do think he's addicted. And I also think he's addicted because so how there's like that checklist when you ask yourself, am I an alcoholic or am I a drug addict or whatever, right? And one of the criteria, one of the criteria for addiction are you persisting in doing it even though it is bringing negative consequences to your life? And I feel like Elon Musk with this breeding thing is a great example of this, because he is having to deal with a lot of headaches with some of these women. Maybe not the main gal, Siobhan, she seems cool, But like Ashley St. Clair and then Amber Heard, you know, we heard, you know, behind the scenes that he was fighting with her over the eggs and stuff like that. And so I guess I'm just saying, like, he is compulsively procreating, and he's choosing, he's not being selective enough about the women that he is doing it with, because you've got these Ashley St. Clair situations here, and then you've got an Amber Heard situation. So here's my question, though, with all of that buildup. I absolutely 100%, well, absolutely 99% believe that Amber's first child is his. But here's my question. Do we think that he's capable of, or would be willing to have 2 additional children with Amber? Is his procreation compulsion, addiction, is it so strong that that would override, you know, reason and compel him to procreate with her again? I don't know, but if I had to bet, I bet those 2 kids are his too. I think all 3 of Amber's kids are Elon's, and I guess time will tell. We will find out when we see what they look like eventually, right? That's fine. I'm not trying to be weird. I don't think no one needs to stalk them or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, you know, one day in 20 years, let's see what they look like. And we'll see if any of them look like Elon Musk. But I do think, yeah, I do think he's got some kind of, I don't know, there's got to be a word for it, right? Does somebody want to look it up? Should I look it up? I don't know why I keep clicking on this comment of yours, Dan. Sorry, I keep losing it. There we go. There's your longer ones. Yes, it's possible she can be a good mom, although it's none of my business, but we'll never know because almost everything we hear from Amber is through a filtered source. Yeah, I agree with all that. And I think most of us have gotten tired of talking about Amber anyway. But Mother's Day, you know, Mother's Day post. She's talking about her kids. I gotta check it out. What was the thing that I was going to look up though? Oh, hold on. The Baldoni dancing. We'll stop. We're going to end with that. So I did want to watch that. And I think I have it on my channel. My channel is mostly like cat videos and ASMR. Okay. That's a terrible picture. Oh my God, that is so bad. That's funny. I should have invested a little more time in that. Okay. I'm just going to find this way. Okay, here we go. This is got it.
Hi, welcome back to my channel.
So most of you, I think, have seen this footage, but just to recap, this is raw footage of them filming a romantic scene. I think they were supposed to have, their characters were supposed to have just gotten married or engaged or something. So understand when you see this, if you haven't seen it before, it's supposed to look like they're in love. And some people who watch this, I saw comments, people saying like, oh, wow, they were really in love. And I want to be like, no, like you can see at the end when Baldoni yells cut, that he immediately, his face, his demeanor, everything at the end immediately changes. So he was just totally acting. And these are good actors, both of them good actors. But what I am interested in is not so much what they were radiating or giving off on an obvious level, you know, pretending to be in love for the cameras. But I'm interested in the dialogue and some of what comes out when they're just talking to each other, because the scene is supposed to be silent in the sense that there's music and them dancing, but there's not actual dialogue in that scene. And so they're having actually a conversation with each other. Blake and Justin are talking, the actors are talking to each other, and they're not performing. So that's what we're going to look at. Those of you who haven't seen it, I know most of you have. And we're going to jump in. I'm going to go through certain things that I think are more interesting than others, but we'll start at the beginning and I'll skip through some stuff.
Too close to the subject.
Victor 40,
It's never meant to be comedy.
And I felt it there.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, that's all they're supposed to do.
Ready, everyone? Talk to you at the bar. Something's on the screen.
And can you give us a couple cues of like they score? Just so everyone else around us is having a moment.
But is it as rambunctious as it was earlier on?
No, it's never going to be because we're in slow-mo, but just they're watching, people are watching games. We see some, just some hands and things like that. Yeah.
Now, one thing that I want to point out here is that Justin has gotten a lot of shit from a lot of people, and even well-meaning people, even me at times, for being, quote, a pushover. I'm quoting myself the other night or whatever. But I want to point out here while I'm thinking about it, you can see in the way that he is handling his job that he is actually directing. He is not passively standing there. Blake is not the one directing this scene. He has, and people are clearly on the crew are clearly respectful of Baldoni. They clearly look to him for his vision, for instruction, and they seem to respect him. And so I want to point that out because I do feel like, and I contribute to this at times, I do feel like sometimes we get so into the narrative of this guy was just completely run over by Blake. And of course, we know that in a lot of ways, there's some truth to that, but he's very much the director of this film. And I really give him credit for actually being able to perform this way under pressure, direct, perform, and have to be dealing with Blake Lively and her crazy ass and her dragons at the same time. So props to him.
Yeah, thank you.
Ready, and everybody gets, and playback, background, and camera.
I may not know what I need.
Skip that a little bit.
Record again.
So what good would living do me? God only knows what I'd be without you.
Ryan, go to the bar. Ryan, go to the bar.
Now, this is where I've seen some Blake Lively defenders online they fixate on and focus on this request of hers to do more dance, more talking. She says she thinks it's more romantic or whatever, right? And they fixate on this, and what they say is, see, this shows that Blake was actually really uncomfortable, and she was uncomfortable with the overtures that Baldoni was making, and him leaning in and trying to kiss her and all of that. And she wasn't comfortable, and that's why she keeps insisting that they're supposed to be apart, talking or whatever. And I'm just going to back it up just a hair because you can see that that's not what this is about. She never looks uncomfortable with him. What it looks to me is like this is one of those moments when bossy Blake has this idea in her head of how things should be, her vision, and we see here one of those instances in which she's trying to pressure Baldoni. She won't let it go. And he keeps saying, as the director, he keeps saying what his vision is, what he wants. At a certain point, the actor is supposed to shut up and accede to what the director wants. And she keeps pushing it. And you get the sense that, of course, they've talked about this before, that she's bringing this up yet again.
God only knows what I'd be without you.
Ryan, go to the bar. Ryan, go to the bar.
Watch out, watch out.
Score again.
All right.
So go on, believe me. So what good would living do me? God only knows what I need without you. God only knows what I'd be without you. God only knows.
People have also said, sorry, I know that music is like mind numbing. People have also said that, again, Blake defenders, that, she's uncomfortable with this, uncomfortable with that, or whatever. You sign on for a sexy movie like this, I know there were serious DV themes and stuff, but like there was a lot of sex and there was a lot of sexualized interactions in this movie. And she knew what she was signing on for. So yeah, we can all look at this and we can put ourselves in that situation. If we were told, hey, right now stand up in the middle of all these people and pretend like you're in love with this random dude. But this is what she signed up for. This is what she had rehearsed for. And so, you know, the idea that Blake is not supposed to feel, that actresses are not supposed to feel discomfort on movie sets is something else that's really starting to bother me, because acting, by its very nature, the theater, the world of theater and the world of film, they take a lot of their creative charge and power from at times being edgy. And sometimes it's edginess that I think is stupid and I don't agree with, like the stupid incest business in the second movie, Another Simple Favor, right? I mean, it's stupid. It seems like it's just there for shock value, kind of like the White Lotus incest theme and all of that, right? I think stuff like that's dumb and I don't like it. At the same time, though, I understand that the arts are, by their very nature, they're about pushing boundaries and stuff. And so for a woman like Blake Lively to sign up for a film centered around these adult themes with adult love scenes and stuff, and then claim that she's not supposed to feel uncomfortable, that's just, it's a bad precedent. It's a really bad precedent. Okay.
Can we do a score? Can we do a score? A couple scores? While we're, yeah, great.
Still on the talking thing. Like she won't let it go. She's like, she's just still, she's got that grin on her face, but like she just will not let. So the talking, we need to do the talking.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm never gonna find out.
She's just pushy. Push.
Oh my gosh, we don't stop.
And Emily and I have like.
Okay. This is where she gets competitive about the relationships. But I just want to call your attention to something really quick, though. Okay, and one of the reasons why I wanted to show this to you is I think that as often as people have referenced this video, something that it really people have not really talked about, that it really gets across to us, is the unceasing insidious nature of Blake Lively's efforts to control the film and to constantly push him toward her vision. I would imagine scene to scene, I would imagine this is constantly going on where he's having to constantly debate with her what the vision of the film or the vision of the scene is. And it's like, again, she's not the director of the film. And for her to, she brings up the talking thing once in this video, and he nicely, politely, he doesn't even totally shoot it down. He also says, well, he actually is accepting. He said, oh, that is a cool idea or whatever. He's open to even, it sounds like, implementing it, but it's not enough for her. And she keeps needling at him. And so then here she goes again. She's got this grin on her face and everything, and she's doing the sweet scene, but she's still talking about the talking thing. And he's trying to, poor guy, he's trying to stay focused on just directing the scene. You can see that his mind is like doing a bunch of things. He's trying to stay in the moment with his acting with her, but he's trying to direct and all that. And he's got to deal with Blake, who just keeps like a annoying like bee buzzing. What about the talking? There's the talking. But anyway, watch this, y'all. This is where she gets competitive about the relationships. All right, watch the dialogue here.
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, you're like,
I'm never gonna find out.
God only knows why they win.
Oh my gosh, we don't stop.
And Emily and I have like, we have these moments where
Staring. You just stare.
literally we've done it for like 5 minutes. it's like, I think you would find it.
Okay, so before we get further in this, so understand why he's bringing this up. It's kind of what's going on here is that things are kind of awkward because Blake keeps trying to push this vision that she wants for the scene, and he really is like resistant to it or whatever, trying to deal with her. Anyway, but so the point though is they're talking about, the topic is like whether talking is romantic, or is it romantic to have their characters talking more or whatever. And so he brings up Emily, his wife, just sort of as just kind of offhand conversation of like, oh, speaking of talking, we do this exercise where we communicate without speaking, or we stare at each other. So he's just kind of bringing up this story, kind of, this is what they would do, apparently, making this movie, is they would deliberate about particular creative decisions that they needed to make, but also they would bring in their personal experiences. And by the way, as we know, this is what unfortunately got Justin into so much trouble, was that he thought that this was a warm, welcoming environment to conduct himself creatively in this way. And he didn't realize Blake Lively was assembling this hidden checklist of all of these ways that she says he was harassing her by talking about porn, or bringing the birthing video, Jamie, he's birthing video, or this or that, right? I mean, all of these things that make sense given the context of what they were doing and the topics of the film, but that Blake Lively was using as ammunition for her stupid checklist. But anyway, okay, I'm not going to interrupt it again. I want you to see this exchange where you can see her jealousy flare up.
And they win!
Oh my gosh, we don't shut up.
And Emily and I we have these moments where
Staring. You just stare.
literally we've done it for like 5 minutes. it's like, I think you would find it terrifying. We just literally look at each other and like
When
time
I found a sociopath.
and like time stops.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's just how it's been for us from the beginning.
No, we're like, oh my God, there's
And they score again.
no.
Again.
It's like, oh my God, I forgot to tell you something else.
I think that's cute. You guys are really cute.
I think it's more than cute.
They won the Stanley Cup.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, y'all.
Let's just do one almost.
It's too late. It's too late for this cringy encounter. But a couple of things there. I mean, she was clearly upset, or it's not enough that he called her cute. I guess I thought it was sweet, but I guess it was cute. She ain't having that. Blake ain't having that, right? So she stopped him dead in his tracks on that. So more than cute. And then you can see him sort of like kind of stumbling a bit, trying to figure out, okay, what do I say to placate this woman? What's better than cute? It's adorable, Blake. You and Ryan have the best relationship that any two people in the history of humanity have ever had. Is that good enough? It's like a political struggle session. You'll know that term, struggle session. It's normally in a political sense, but Blake Lively likes to do these struggle sessions, right? She's like, you will refer to my relationship in an appropriately positive manner. Okay, so there's that going on, and then this sociopath comment. Did you catch it? Hold on a second.
They won the Stanley.
Yeah.
But like, for like 5 minutes. it's like, I think you would find it terrifying. We just literally look at each other and like
when
time.
I found a sociopath.
Oh yeah. Like, I'm not making too much out of it or whatever. It was a joking offhand remark, but it's cutting. Everything with her is cutting, right? I mean, why take it there? Would that occur to you? If a nice guy, like, let me ask you this. If you were talking to someone like Baldoni, doesn't even have to be Baldoni, but let's just say just a friend of yours or acquaintance or whatever, and they were telling you about how they do this intimacy exercise with their wife, and it's kind of funny, and they stare at each other. Would you think to call that sociopathic behavior or call someone a sociopath? Like, there's nothing wrong with it per se, but it's just kind of a weird, unnecessarily like negative way. It's just, again, this is like Blake. Everything is very cutting with her, just like the comment about her co-star being born in a cage because Leighton Meester's mom was in prison or jail when she had Leighton, right? And so Lively made this joke about, oh, one of us was born in a cage. And again, I don't care. Humor, I'm all for edgy humor. But she's just got this very, very cutting personality, and you can see it coming out here with Baldoni. Okay, I think I'm going to play like one or two more things here, and then I'll let us go.
Let's just do one almost like super close.
Yeah.
Can you guys frame up on the Sebastian on you? Yeah. We'll just do like our lips are right next to each other.
Yeah, gotcha.
But I think you should start talking.
She's
Okay.
back to the talking.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Still rolling.
Don't give it to them. They want
I'm sorry, y'all. I don't normally laugh like this. Oh my gosh. I am a little bit delirious. I think y'all get it, but she won't shut the fuck up about the talking. Y'all, I mean, this is just one scene that we happen to have footage of. Can you imagine what it was like? I'm sure, y'all, she was like this about everything. I'm sure every fucking scene. I'm sure if we had access to every fucking scene that they filmed on that movie, I'm sure that she was doing this shit constantly. And he has the patience of Job, as they say, to not only keep his cool, but to also keep directing at the same time he's having to deal with her pretty constant needling. Seriously, like he's trying to do his thing and she just keeps bringing it back to this fixation that she has that they should be talking more. I mean, their characters should be talking more. That's what she's just a creative difference and she won't let it go.
Don't give it to her.
Now she's
Can
arguing.
you guys frame up on the Sebastian on you?
Yeah.
We'll just do like our lips are right next to each other.
Yeah, gotcha.
But I think you should start talking.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Still rolling.
Don't give it to them. They want it. Don't give it to them.
Just
Don't
keep
give it
restraint.
Yeah.
Four.
Just do a little bit of restraint.
Ryan, come on back.
It just makes me exhausted just even looking at it. Like just feeling, it just feels sorry for him. No wonder he ended up in the hospital. I mean, he ended up in the hospital and he even said it in that text. I mean, and this was like long before this thing became public. He wasn't showing off for anyone in the hospital. And what did he say? He's like, my body has had it. This lady got him so worn down and so fucking stressed out that he got sick. I know it's more complicated, it's a spinal thing or whatever, but your body gets worn down and you're more susceptible to illness. We all know that's how it works. Okay, sorry. This is the nose thing. It's the last thing I wanted to look at is the nose exchange. All right, here we go.
Ryan, come on back. And the couple by the bar walk towards us, cross. Who's that? No, your name. Sorry, ponytail lady.
And then
Cross this way. Cross this way. Take your day. Cross this way.
so nosy.
And my nose is so big.
You know something else that I notice, and it's never occurred to me before. She keeps sabotaging the scene. Look at this. They were almost done, right? And then she, like some fucking fifth grader or something, decides that she's going to get all tickled about the fact, that he's got a big nose, that their noses were touching. Oh my God, it's so funny. It's so funny. You've got a big nose. And our noses are touching. And your nose is big. She just ruined the fucking scene, dude. She is an obstructionist, and she here, I think, is like on some level, she's irritated that the scene is not, that he's resisting her on creatively on this thing that she keeps pushing about the talking. And so she's just going to fucking sabotage the scene. That is annoying. I never noticed that before. He just rolls with it and he's cool.
No, your name. Sorry.
One more
ponytail
time.
lady.
And then
Cross this way. Cross this way. Take your day. Cross this way.
so nosy.
And,
Oh my God.
Noses.
my nose is so.
Fuck, dude. It's not like that was a beautiful, slow closing to a carefully crafted scene, and then you just break out into laughter over what? His nose? I mean, this woman is just awful. She's just awful. That's all there is to it. She is awful. We're going to bring back Ms. Heard. Ms. Heard, come back. We just want you to know that we, the jury, have thought about your behavior. Oh, not Heard. Oh, I get confused. No, it's Miss Lively. Miss Heard, go away. Miss Lively, we just want you to know that we've carefully considered your behavior and we find it lacking. We find it problematic, to say the least. Oh, man. All right. Well, I think what we'll do is we will maybe put the Blake Lively Q&A on ice until I feel inspired to come back, until Ms. Lively feels inspired to come back next time. But anyway, I guess we'll wrap it up there. Thank you all for following me. It is 4:08 Eastern. Had a nice stream here. And so appreciation again to my mods. I'm just checking my PayPal one more time. If you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a PayPal tip. And if not, just like and subscribe and show your support in those ways. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to have a new video out tomorrow. And yeah, let me make sure I got everybody though. I hate it when I get off and then I realize that I missed a super chat, but I don't think that I did. All right. I appreciate you all. Good night. We will see what happens tomorrow.